My name is Rachel Breen. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm a practicing artist. I'm also a professor at Anoka Ramsey Community College, and I'm really honored to be in this exhibition and in this beautiful space. So the number of shirts represents the number of people who died in the Rana Plaza factory collapse, which took place in Bangladesh in 2013, and the number of people who died in the Triangle Shirtwaist factory fire, which took place in Manhattan in 1911. So the combined number of people is 1,137 people. And the work is really meant to explain that garment workers have been mistreated and exploited across historic time, but also across geographic borders. So my own practice is that I work with a sewing machine as a drawing tool. I'm fascinated with sewing machines, right? They're like, just what they do is kind of incredible. And it was in 2013 when the Rana Plaza factory collapse happened. And my studio's in an old warehouse in Minneapolis on the 4th floor. And I thought about what it would feel like to be sitting at a sewing machine and have the floor underneath me drop away. And I immediately connected it to the Triangle Shirtwaist factory fire, which happened in 1911. It was a different tragedy, but also in some ways similar, happened in Manhattan in 1911. The owner had locked the doors because they were worried that workers would steal, so it was a way to prevent stealing. A fire broke out. The workers couldn't get out. The ladders to the fire engines could only reach the 6th floor. They couldn't reach the 9th floor. So many of the workers either jumped to their death or were burnt to death. And most of the people who died in that fire were Jewish immigrants, Jewish and Italian immigrants. I'm Jewish, and my family came to this country at that time. And so it's a story that I grew up knowing about. And also knew that after that disaster, there were many changes in workplace laws in this country to protect workers. Like, you couldn't lock doors, there had to be clear pathways, there had to be emergency exits, like all of these things that really have helped protect workers. And also unions. The unionization movement was just emerging in 1911. The International Ladies Garment Workers Union really gave workers agency and a vehicle to advocate for themselves. And so I started thinking about the parallels and connections between these two disasters. And that was when I also learned that Muslims are buried in white and Jews are buried in white. And I thought that was a really powerful connection.
And the title of your piece is Shroud.
That's right. And people are buried in shrouds. And so that's why white. And that is also the symbol of these people who died more than 100 years apart and on other sides of the planet, yet have been treated unfairly by these companies, corporations, these big businesses who are not concerned about the lives of workers. One of the things that's really important to me about the piece is that it is very much about arms, right? You have all these sleeves hanging down, and our arms are what we work with. And so if you think about workers sewing in a factory, they're working with their arms. And so it's very much an homage to these workers. And they've also all been worn, and I think that's interesting. None of these are new. They've been worn by people. And so the clothes, and this is also really the whole exhibition, I think, brings this to the fore, which is that clothing speaks about the body, it speaks of our experiences, and so and in some ways our clothing encapsulates kind of where these clothes have been, how we've worn them, what we've done in them, and so there's history. And one of the things that I have found to be really rewarding about working with this material is that I think the public accesses the work in a different way, because sometimes people will say, oh, I have a shirt like that, or so-and-so has a dress like that. And so it's a way that people connect to the work also, in that they see themselves in the work. And that's something that I really hope, because if people can see themselves in this work, then they can maybe see themselves more in this story.